Now at 5, a Southeast Kansas school has chosen to take part in a state redesign project. Plus, Jasper County CASA breaks ground on a new facility.
I'm Nikki Batiste. Coming up, how the families of 9 victims of the Sandy Hook school massacre won a historic settlement against gun manufacturer Remington.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Columbus High School is now one of 9 Kansas schools approved to launch a state redesign project. This is KOAM News at 5. The Columbus School District joined the Kansas CAN School Redesign Project in 2019. It's aimed at helping schools ensure the success of their high school graduates. Well, now the school has chosen to help explore new ways of teaching. The school's principal, Dan Grundy, says with approval from the State Board of Education, they feel validated in their hard work for their students.
Our staff and our students we've asked both of them. They've put in a lot of work to get to this point, and I'm just very proud of what we've done at CUHS, just because, you know, it just doesn't happen overnight to make changes like this, and to have the buy-in from our community, our staff, and our kids, it's really made it why we're such a good place here.
The main goal of the program is to help students explore their interests in addition to core classes they may take. Court-appointed special advocates will soon have a new building in Joplin. CASA officials today broke ground on the Jasper County CASA Training and Connection Center. The organization connects children in foster care with volunteers who will advocate for their needs. Officials say the new $1 million facility will provide a consistent, centralized location with play and learning areas and space to train volunteers.
It's really exciting. From the first day I started working at CASA, this has kind of been on the table. Our volunteers really need somewhere to go with their kids to spend time, to do things like cooking classes and art classes and just get to know each other better, and this is it.
CASA officials say they're looking for around 50 more volunteers this year. It's gotten cloudy out there. Checking in with Doug Hetty.
It has. We had plenty of sunshine during the morning hours. Clouds have been increasing. We're going to get thunderstorms increasing tomorrow. Some of those could be strong to low grade severe. Some wintry weather on the back end. Already a winter storm watch for north and western counties. And this is for mainly on Thursday. But you can see the clouds thickening up over the past several hours. Next storm system is brewing out to the west, and this is going to be the one that really affects us starting during the daytime hours tomorrow. But temperatures warm all the way up into the 60s for us today, and super windy. We've had south winds sustained kind of in that 20 to 30 mile per hour range, and then gusts on top of that have been over 40 miles per hour as we've gone through the afternoon. Through the evening hours, slow drop back into the 50s. Of course, I'll break this whole system down for you here in just a bit.
See you then. President Biden says the U.S. stands prepared to respond if Russia invades Ukraine. Russia claims it's beginning to withdraw some of its forces from along the Ukraine border, but the U.S. says it's yet to see any signs of de-escalation. Meanwhile, Ukraine says it's come under a cyber attack on some government agencies. It's not yet clear if Russia is behind the attacks, but the FBI is warning American agencies to be prepared for potential cyber attacks here. Families of some of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting victims have reached a settlement with a gun manufacturer nearly a decade after the massacre. As Nikki Batiste reports, this sum is more than double what Remington Arms initially offered.
Today is about what is right and what is wrong.
Families of 9 victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting gathered in Trumbull, Connecticut Tuesday, agreeing to a $73 million settlement with Remington, the maker of a Bushmaster AR-15 style rifle used in the 2012 massacre.
Today is a day of accountability for an industry that has thus far enjoyed operating with immunity and impunity. And for this, I am grateful.
The family sued and spent years in court trying to work around a law protecting gun makers from most civil suits.
We kept hearing it was impossible, an unwinnable case, that firearm manufacturers were immune.
Lawyers centered their case around how the rifle was marketed, alleging the company targeted younger at-risk males with product placement in violent video games and ads like its so-called man card campaign. Remington argued there was no evidence connecting its marketing with the 2012 massacre. The settlement will be paid out through insurance, and Remington Arms also agreed to make public all the discovery and deposition material.
It allows these families the rights to share the information as to what they learned.
The families hope this leads to greater accountability in the gun manufacturing industry. Now bankrupt Remington has not commented on the settlement. Nikki Batiste, CBS News, Trumbull, Connecticut.
Remington offered a $33 million settlement last summer, but it involved only 2 of its 4 insurance companies and no documents. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin today lost her libel lawsuit against the New York Times. A jury rejected her claim that the newspaper maliciously damaged her reputation by erroneously linking her campaign rhetoric to a mass shooting. Britain's Prince Andrew and his accuser, Virginia Giuffre, reached a settlement in her lawsuit against him. She claimed she was trafficked by the late Jeffrey Epstein as a teenager and forced to have sex with his friends, including allegedly Prince Andrew. The Duke of York has repeatedly denied the allegations. The price tag on the agreement will not be released, but the filing states Prince Andrew will make a major donation to the victims' rights charity headed by Giuffre. Still ahead, why you might be spending more on avocados.
The U.S. has put a ban on importing avocados from Mexico. I'm Elise Preston with a look at how the move could impact your grocery bill.
And next in Health Watch, how gaming is being prescribed as a therapy for the disabled. Topping today's Health Watch, a former elementary school principal warns people not to ignore high cholesterol after her own battle with coronary artery disease. Marilyn Alley says she'd been told for years that she had high cholesterol, but never did anything about it. After noticing she was easily out of breath and lacked energy, she went to Freeman, where she was rushed to the catheterization lab to clear a clogged artery.
Go through my arm to do that, and after the procedure was over the next day, I felt really good. In fact, the next few days I felt better than I realized that I felt better than I'd felt for years.
The doctor who performed the procedure says most of these issues stem from poor diet and lack of exercise. Just 20 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise a day when you're 70 to 75 years old can help prevent major heart disease when you're over 80. That's the finding of a study of more than 3,000 older Italians just published in the journal Heart. The research found the greatest exercise benefits at the age of 70. About 60% of U.S. women who gave birth in 2019 had poor heart health prior to getting pregnant, with excess weight, hypertension, and diabetes presenting the greatest concerns. Researchers at Northeastern University say poor maternal heart health can lead to problems for their children, including heart issues and early birth. Heart issues also cause more than 1 in 4 pregnancy-related deaths, according to the American Heart Association. Good maternal heart health was lower in the South and Midwest compared to the West and Northeast. An older woman's estrogen levels could predict her risk of dying from COVID-19. Swedish researchers say higher levels of the hormone may help protect women from severe infection. They suggest supplemental hormone treatment could be used to lessen the severity of infections in women who've gone through menopause. More than 130 million people play video games, but for some, it's about much more than fun. In fact, it's just what the doctor ordered. Michael Heinrich loves playing video games. But unlike most gamers who use standard controls, he needs to use a specialized adaptive console. It's because he lost partial use of his hands after a motorcycle accident left him a quadriplegic.
And, I can't push buttons because, my thumbs don't move down.
He couldn't raise his arms over his head, so the controllers were placed up high to build strength.
I was trying to strength train my triceps by hitting buttons and holding them up in the air for just an extended period of time.
Therapeutic and adaptive gaming is used to help with spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, stroke, amputation, and other disabilities. This is one of only a handful of labs like this in the country. They play games like Candy Crush, Plants and Zombies, or Rocket Launch.
So we would put it near their head if they were working towards putting their shirt on. We would put it towards their mouth if they were working to feed themselves.
For many patients, the rehab doesn't feel like hard work because they're so immersed in the game. And for some, like Michael, it's about more than physical improvements. It's about being able to play games for fun as well. He's one of 46 million disabled gamers.
It was, let me engage into a community. Let me be a part of something that is not just me working on my weights, but like me being able to play with my friends.
Many companies like Microsoft make adaptive controllers. They range in price from about $100 to over $1,000. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, how the conflict between Russia and Ukraine could impact gas prices here in the U.S.
Plus, we'll break down our next strong storm system heading in our direction coming up next. Well, it turned out to be a mild and very windy day for us today. The winds gusting at times upwards of 40 miles per hour. And the winds are going to continue for us tonight and then into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. Thunderstorms get going, especially tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. A wintry mix moves in by Thursday. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, we had sunshine. We don't anymore. The clouds have increased. It's going to stay cloudy for the next couple days. Nice shot, though, of indigo sky, casino and resort. Temps still pretty good. Most of us are sitting low to mid 60s. We're not going to drop off much for us tonight. Southerly winds will actually keep our temperatures up. Look at our sustained winds, 20 to 30 miles per hour. Then you look at our wind gust, anywhere from 30 to 40 upwards to 45 miles per hour at times. So it's going to stay very windy as we go through the evening hours. Cloudy skies, nice shot though. Sitting at 63. Humidity is fairly low, 35%. Through the evening hours, we slide back through the 60s, 50s. We only bottom out at about 55, so it stays actually fairly mild. Winter storm watch in effect, northwestern counties. I do expect a winter weather advisory to go in effect most likely tomorrow, probably I-44 and north with our next storm system rolling in. Clouds increasing, nothing underneath the clouds, so we'll stay dry through the evening into the overnight hours tonight. But our main system out to our southwest, you can actually see it spinning right about Las Vegas, and this is going to track out right on top of us, kind of a tricky track as it moves out over the next 48 hours. Clouds increase tonight. Here's tomorrow morning. As we go through the day, we may get some spotty showers. Majority of the day, fairly dry. Spotty showers, maybe a random thunderstorm trying to pop up late in the day, but temperature is still pretty good. 55 in the morning, 59 by noon. High temp is 64. South winds 20 to 30 at times. Tomorrow night, scattered thunderstorms start to get going. Some of these storms could be strong, maybe low-grade severe, especially Joplin, south. Very heavy amounts of rain as we head into Thursday morning. Here's 3 a.m. Let's go into the morning hours. You can see that freezing line sliding south sometime Thursday morning. This is all freezing rain. This is sleet. This is snow. Depending on the track of this system, if it tracks a little farther north, we'll get dry slotted and we'll get a break. If it tracks a little bit closer to this, we'll have consistent precipitation through the daytime hours and then a little bit of light snow on the backside. All right, first off, severe weather threat, mainly I-44 and south. This is going to start, let's say, 4 p.m. tomorrow and last through the night. Main threat is going to be wind and hail. Will definitely elevate rainfall as it's going to be up there. Ice potential, mainly along and north of I-44, let's say a tenth to 2 tenths, but 2 tenths upwards to ½ an inch of ice. So this is going to cause some issues as we go into Thursday morning. Snowfall, I don't think we're going to have much snow. So I have most of us in the dusting to 1 inch. But our northwestern counties, once you get to Yates Center, 3 to 6 inches of snow. 64 tomorrow, we drop into the 20s on Thursday, 17 Thursday night, but we rebound depending on what's on the ground back into the 40s on Friday.
Wow, quite a wide variety there, but some people could get a substantial
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of ice and snow in our northern counties.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, why America is halting avocado imports from Mexico. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Terry Walker served in the U.S. Navy from 1965 to 1972. The Valeda, Kansas native was stationed in Vietnam, and we salute Petty Officer 2nd Class Terry Walker, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, a new measure of inflation shows that prices rose to a near record in January. According to the Labor Department, wholesale prices shot up 9.7% on an annual basis. Supply chain bottlenecks continue to weigh on prices. If Russia invades Ukraine, it could drive gas prices even higher. The price of oil is already above $90 a barrel. That's the highest it's been since 2014. Russia produces more than 1/10 of the world's oil supply, and any military action in Ukraine could send the price of oil to more than $100 a barrel. Even though the U.S. is not a major importer of Russian oil, this would still impact gas prices for Americans. The United States has stopped all avocado imports from Mexico until further notice, following a threat to an American plant safety inspector. The disruption is raising concern that there could be a spike in prices and a shortage of the green food on store shelves. Elise Preston reports from New York.
There seems to be plenty of avocados in supermarkets right now, but that could soon change. The U.S. has stopped all imports of Mexican avocados until further notice after an American inspector in Mexico received a threatening message.
If we don't solve this in the next 2-3 weeks, it's going to impact us for a couple of years to come.
The threat to the inspector comes amid escalating drug cartel violence in Michoacan, where nearly 90% of the avocados the U.S. imports are grown.
Avocado prices are already much higher than they were compared to a year ago, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The disruption is raising concern that spike could grow even bigger in the weeks ahead.
I would say an avocado could go up to $5 to $6 a unit.
$5 to $6 for one avocado.
Martha Montoya is the chief executive of Ag Tools. She says it's not just the consumer that will be impacted. Hundreds of millions of dollars will be lost and the environment will be affected.
Everyone in the supply chain were prepared to ship all this amount of avocados, trucks, containers, the processing plants, water, electricity. So all that is carbon footprint that we are going to be wasting.
The U.S. government says the suspension will continue until the safety of all U.S. inspectors in Mexico is assured. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
The president of Mexico said yesterday the ban is part of a conspiracy against his country. Texas is suing Facebook's parent company, Meta Platforms. The state attorney general says the company's facial recognition technology violated the state's privacy protections and is looking for civil penalties in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Meta stopped using the tech late last year and said it deleted the data. Meta insists this lawsuit is without merit, though it did settle a similar class action lawsuit last year in Illinois for $650 million. Noom gets a heavy slap on the wrist. The diet app agreed to pay $62 million to resolve allegations that it tricked customers into signing up for so-called risk-free trials. Those trials then turned into costly renewals that were hard to cancel. Noom has agreed to send email reminders to customers before their trial expires. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, more on efforts to prevent a Russian invasion of Ukraine. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on a Kansas project to redesign schools, including Columbus High School. Plus, the Joplin School District is establishing a Hall of Fame to recognize the accomplishments of alumni. And the city of Joplin announces changes to its public transportation systems. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. The sunshine today is giving way to clouds, Doug.
Yeah, clouds have been thickening up, but it's going to stay fairly mild and windy for us tonight. Those winds still in that 20 to 30 mile per hour range. 64 tomorrow, a few random showers, but showers and thunderstorms increase tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. Heavy amounts of rain, a lot of areas 1 to 3 inches of rain. And then we switch over to a wintry mix. Our northern counties kind of take the brunt of this, but all of us should get something wintry across the region on Thursday.
Wow. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.